My name's Corey Tarvin. I am the owner of Tarvin Products. We are a manufacturer of cabinet doors, cabinets, countertops. I wanted to put together a short video to describe our layouts that we come up with and how we get to that and why we get to that. I also wanted to briefly show you the differences between the type of hinges that we use. We use half-inch hinges. We also use 1.25 inch. We use a combination of those, which get shipped by unit in bags, plastic bags that have the unit number on them. So let's start there. Let's start with the hinges. We use Salice hinges. These are a little bit different than this. These have one screw into the face frame, whereas we use two screws into the face frame for more strength. What's a half-inch hinge and what's an 1.25 inch hinge? Well, basically it's the overlay of the face frame that makes the difference. If you'll notice this half-inch one here, this is the edge of the opening. This is looking top down at a cabinet. From this point of the opening to the edge of the door right here is a half-inch. So this cabinet door is overlaying the opening, which the opening would be right here, a 1/2 inch. You'll notice right below is the other one. That's the 1.25 inch hinge, and you'll notice that the distance from the edge of the face frame to the edge of the door is 1.25 inch. So it covers more of the existing face frame versus the 1/2 inch up here. Over time, installers will be able to look at a hinge and figure out what's what. But in the beginning, if an installer's having a problem with it, right here where this red arrow is pointed, it'll be labeled either 1/2 inch or 1.25 inch on the 1.25 hinges. So that's the difference in the hinges. They come with these dowels and the screw already attached. They go right here, and those can be just popped in with a mallet into the back of the doors that are pre-drilled for this. Okay, let's go look at a typical cabinet. This is just a cabinet box with no doors. These boxes here represent the openings to this cabinet. This is like maybe a cabinet that would go over a range or a refrigerator. In the past, well, ever since they've been redoing cabinet doors, most applications just have a 1/2 inch hinge, which is a 1/2 inch overlay around the opening. So if I installed this cabinet door like that, it overlays a 1/2 inch all the way around the opening. Let's put the other one on. And that's been typical in the multifamily industry for a long time. And most of the existing cabinets that are in apartment communities, the door and cabinet application is a 1/2 inch currently. Well, some of my customers are trendy. They want something different, and this has been going on for a few years now. They want to cover, they're painting the cabinets either a dark brown or a gray, and they're wanting to cover that paint and show off more of the door and less of the face frame. So that's why we've been using a lot of 1.25 inch hinges for that. You can see how much more the doors cover in this case with the 1.25 inch hinges versus this case with the 1/2 inch hinges. When you use the wrong hinge on a door, let's say we want to get this approach or this look, and it requires 1.25 inch hinges, but we don't pay attention to what hinge we're using, and we use 1/2 inch hinges. Well, you can see there's more face frame exposed here because there's only a 1/2 inch right here. So where's the rest of the door going to go? The rest of the door is going to overlap the other cabinet door that was using 1.25 inch hinge on this side. So that's where we'll run into some issues sometimes. But hopefully that kind of explains the difference between a 1/2 inch look and an 1.25 inch look. The 1.25 inch looks more modern, and a lot of these owners that I deal with and management companies are going for this more modern, sophisticated look. How do we know? Well, let's do this. Why then use the combination, both 1/2 and 1.25 inch? Well, the reason we do that is sometimes up against walls, in corners, you can't really use 1.25 inch because then the doors and drawers start to collide with each other and they don't function. They don't open. They bind up. They bind up against the wall a lot when customers have scribe or some sort of molding that brings the cabinet together to the wall, and there's not an 1.25 inch for us. So in that case, we'd want to use a 1/2 inch hinges on this particular door. We also have cases where in the corner let me show you. Sorry. If this door or drawer front here was to open at 1.25 inches, which this is the way this is drawn, it's going to bang into this handle. So in this case, we're probably going to need to make this setup 1/2 inch. And if we make the door using 1/2 inch hinges, you should align the edge of the drawer with the edge of the door, so that way it looks good and this drawer then still opens and functions. So we typically use it up against the wall or in corners is where we use 1/2 inch hinges. The rest of the time we use 1.25 inch hinges to get that more modern full overlay look. How does the installer know what hinge to use where? This is a typical diagram, excuse me. This one's out in Phoenix. Each of these boxes represents either a cabinet door or a cabinet drawer. The dimension on the height on the top is the width. The dimension on the side is the height of it. You'll notice some of these doors don't have anything in them. Those we basically use 1.25 inch there. We put a note on here. All hinges are 1.25 inch overlay except where noted. Some of these doors do have 1/2 inch notifications on it, so those particular doors should use 1/2 inch hinges. I think first and foremost, when an installer's getting ready to start his installation, a separation of the 1.25 inch and the 1/2 inch hinges would be a good call. But yeah, our diagrams, we try to label where the range is, we try to label where the fridge is, just to kind of give a perspective where these doors and drawer fronts are going to be installed. If you have any questions, you can call us at 913-915-2605, and we'd be more than happy to walk you through it. We're pretty good about calling you back so that you can complete your installation. That's all I got for now. Thanks.